Welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. We are here to kick off yet another week of content for you guys on this podcast. And as we always do on our first episode of the week, we're going to break down this week 11 slate that we just got through, give out some helmet stickers. We'll recap our bold predictions. Spoiler alerts, we went over 4 on that. But before we dive in here too much, please go to Apple, Spotify, however you're listening. Give us 5 stars, leave some comments, leave us some love. We really do appreciate it. But other than that, James, how was your weekend of football watching, my friend?
Weekend of football was pretty stressful for the Indiana game. Nice chill weekend. Outside of that, there weren't it was really just paying attention to the quarterbacks. I feel like it wasn't as many big time matchups with like a ton of prospects. But yeah, really chill Saturday, good Sunday. I'm ready to get into this week.
Love it. Well, I don't think we should waste any time here. Let's start with Friday. We've got USC Northwestern here. USC came out on top here. Jaden Mayava goes for $299. Makai Lemon back on the board there with 161 as well. You've got a helmet sticker in this game, so let's just go ahead and jump right in here with these helmet stickers as well.
Yeah, so we're cutting the helmet sticker in half, and we're giving one half to Makai Lemon, one half to Jacoby Lane. Reason I went that way is because they both had great performances. Number one, I don't think that Jacoby Lane's performance was necessarily good enough to warrant a helmet sticker, although it could. And Makai Lemon, I've already given one, so we're just gonna split it. Starting with Lemon, I thought this was a much needed bounce back game after his production had kind of stagnated the last 2 weeks. Now week 10 against Nebraska, I didn't think was terrible. It wasn't like he was getting locked up. Week 8 against Notre Dame was a little bit concerning because you saw him really struggle with the press coverage from Leonard Moore. Like it felt like at times there was nothing he can do to get off the line of scrimmage. He was just kind of overwhelmed. But yeah, this was a really nice bounce back performance. Had kind of like a little bit of everything. Had some deep plays, some good stuff after the catch. Ran a nasty comeback. I also thought this was Makai Lemon's best game as a run blocker. He's not physically imposing, but like he never takes a play off. He doesn't whiff blocks. He's always at least engaged. And in this game, he was actually kind of clearing the way for some of their big runs. So really good performance for Makai Lemon. And then Jacoby Lane is kind of a tough conversation because I have some real concerns about him as a prospect. I just think the lack of speed is extremely, extremely limiting. Like way more than we said about somebody like Tet McMillan, or I would even say Drake London, although he's probably closer to that range. And I mean, you see that with like every single route that he runs getting converted to a stop or a comeback. But in this game, seven catches on 7 targets. It felt like 5 or 6 of them were like the most difficult catch ever. I mean, he's making crazy adjustments, full extension on almost every catch. And then the final catch to end the game, he's got some of the most like acrobatic catches in the end zone that I've seen. I mean, dating back to last year, one-handed, basically like tips it up to himself, comes down with it. Also drew a DPI in the end zone at the very end of the game. So just a great performance from USC's receiver core as a whole. And 16, who I'm actually not sure what his name is, he has some nice plays. So shout out to him as well.
He's an underclassman, I think. So yeah, he's a fun player. Nice. I love it. Again, yeah, USC took care of business. This is probably Oregon's last, Dante Moore's maybe last chance to put a stamp. We'll get up to Dante Moore a little bit later. I don't want to get too far into it. But USC's doing enough to hang around in the Big Ten here. So we'll see how this plays out the rest of the season. I do want to give a quick shot in the Houston UCF game because Houston receiver Amari Thomas keeps flashing to me, dude. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's only a true junior. He's a UAB transfer, so this is his first season at P4, like at the P4 level. Mm-hmm. So is he going to declare? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe he could. I mean, he's producing. He's producing. So there's a chance. I think there's a chance he gets poached from a bigger P4 program though and goes back. But I do want to give Amari Thomas a quick shout there as well. All right, into Saturday here. Ohio State, Purdue, man. Again, it's kind of the underclassmen show for Ohio State right now. Carnell Tate didn't play in this game, and their leading passer was a redshirt freshman. Their leading rusher was a freshman. Their leading receiver, a true sophomore. So, like, 3 guys we're not going to talk about in terms of NFL draft production here. Yeah. But Ohio State just continues to play really well. From an NFL draft perspective, though, both Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles had games again. This might have been Sonny Styles' best tape.
I think
so. Yeah. I think this guy's a top 15 player, Sonny Styles.
Yeah, and I would normally, have some hesitation about that, but I think in this class, he definitely is. Like the steps that he's taken, I think year after year, are exactly what you want to see for kind of a developmental player that's changing positions like he was. But I've kind of beat this drum, like this is not an Isaiah Simmons situation as far as like, what position are we going to play this guy at? Play him where he played in college.
Right, exactly. And you got another helmet sticker in this game too. We're getting your helmet stickers right out of the way here.
So we've talked about this before. It's tough with Ohio State defenders because they get like 40 to 50 snaps a game, whereas most players get like 70 to 80. So it's a smaller sample to really make plays. But what Caleb Downs was able to do on 40 something snaps yesterday, 2 days ago, I think that was probably the best game that I've seen from him in an Ohio State jersey. Forced the interception where he read that in-breaker, I think, about as quickly as he possibly could have. Had one of the most hilarious hits that I've ever seen from Caleb Downs, where he kind of like tabletop somebody on, I think, a tunnel screen. Some other really nice coverage reps, another tackle on a tunnel screen, and then, as always, made a few stops in the run game. So not like a crazy stat sheet stuffing performance, but from the opportunities that he had, best Caleb Downs game that I've seen probably in 2 years.
Yeah, and I think we should also point out that forced interception came from a single high look as well.
For sure.
Which you don't get a lot of looks of him in single high on tape. So when they do come and they stand out, it's worth bringing up as well, because that's what it's going to check that extra box towards saying like, oh, this guy is a potential blue chip player.
For me, with single high, like with Downs, I want to see single high like range
over the top,
not as much playing robber, because then that's just like coming down to where he normally plays. So yeah, not to take anything away from him on the helmet sticker, but that's what I would say.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Indiana, Penn State. This game was a lot closer than I kind of figured Penn State would punch around a little bit, but Indiana pulls it off 27-24. Fernando Mendoza leads a game-winning 80-yard drive. Just takes a stroll with his friends, 80 yards down the field for that go-ahead touchdown. This game was a weird one because I thought Mendoza was really sharp in the first half, and then for like 28 minutes of the second half, it was pretty bad.
It's the kind of game where, like, if you tweeted out any kind of take at any point in the game, it was going to be proven wrong like 20 minutes later. Yeah, I 100% agree with you as far as kind of how his game went. But I mean, I want to hear from you about what you thought about Mendoza.
Yeah, again, really sharp first half. I thought he was on point, on time, on target. Again, some yards left on the field too, because the Omar Cooper drops are starting to add up a little bit. But he did redeem himself there at the end on that unbelievable catch in the back of the end zone. But yeah, then a lot of bad, and I thought there was even one pass he had batted down at the line of scrimmage that would have been intercepted too had it not been batted down. The interception was bad, decision wise. But then, like, you get to that last drive, and the seam ball on 3rd and 17. It was like 3rd and 17 that game winning drive there, getting smacked in the face, rips that thing right at the seam again. The same kind of throw he had against Iowa. The same kind of throw he had against Iowa, just ripped it up the seam while getting smacked in the face. The other skinny post to the tight end
where he anticipated the linebacker trailing.
Yes. Yeah. Right across the middle was hella impressive. That's a Sunday throw, man. The slot fade where he placed that thing right along the boundary as perfectly as he could have to Becker. Beautiful. And then the top shelf throw under pressure. I think Penn State, and I will say this about the game-winning drive. I've always been really high on Mendoza's ability to recognize free rushers and know where his hot is and knowing who he's responsible for in protection. I thought that last drive got him a little bit because he wasn't super aware the play before the game-winning touchdown and almost took a pretty bad sack. And then it looked like he might have been even a little bit late getting it out to Cooper on the game-winning touchdown throw, but he was able to anticipate, I'm going to throw this thing off my back foot. I'm going to put it top shelf back the end zone, take a hit while I do it. And I think that's exactly where that ball needs to go in terms of placement to Cooper. They tried to force Cooper out of the back of the end zone. He got that foot in somehow. But so the game-winning drive couldn't have been a better performance from Mendoza. So overall, a little up and down, but then like the gotta have it moments, Mendoza was Mendoza. And this is probably the 5th time I've talked about this with Mendoza. Like those gotta have it moments, he's lights out. Like I don't know, man. Because like you go back to the Stanford game last year, the NC State game last year. There's games all over his Cal tape where he's just wheeling his guys down the field late in games, and then the Iowa game this year, and then this game this year. Like it's all over his tape of his ability to step up in these gotta have it moments.
It's kind of a tough conversation because I mean, there's been like a ton of discourse about Mendoza, especially versus Julian Sayin, and I like would actually kind of probably agree with the Ohio State side of that argument if we're like talking about Heisman cases, which I don't, I'm not too passionate about, but also I think like obviously this past game was a net positive for Mendoza, both in terms of like his Heisman case and his, how I view him as a draft prospect. But ideally, he doesn't even throw the interception to begin with and doesn't need the game winning drive. So I do think like it's fair to say like why is Mendoza getting extra credit above Julian Sayin because he put his team in that position and then had to have a Heisman moment, whereas Julian Sayin just beat the shit out of him the whole game. So that's I would agree with that, but we talked about wanting to see Mendoza in these high leverage throws, high leverage moments. This is exactly what we got, and it had to come at the expense of his own interception, but I think it's a net positive in terms of clearing up our evaluation even more.
Yeah. That's twice now that he's thrown like kind of a crippling interception and bounced right back to lead an unbelievable drive. Again, we mentioned Omar Cooper in this game too. Again, the drops are starting to add up a little bit with Cooper, but then he redeemed himself there. I think this guy's gonna go day 2. We've had kind of a day 2 valuation on him throughout the season, and he looks just like it. Anything else from either the Penn State side or the Ohio State or Indiana side stand out to you in this game?
I've been pretty resistant to Pons, D'Angelo Pons, the corner, and I think I've talked about him a couple weeks ago, but he is playing so well this year. I mean, he's just in the receiver's hip pocket every single play. It feels like every team tries to target him once or twice a game, and it never works out. So I think Pons is slowly, like at least early day 3, late day 2. I would be a little bit hesitant about late day 2, but yeah, I think top 100, top 120 conversation is where he's approaching.
Love it. I love it. The one thing I also want to point out is we came into the game saying that everybody has had kind of their coming out game against Drew Shelton this year, and Michael Kamara also had kind of a coming out game against Drew Shelton. Had 8 pressures in this game against Drew Shelton. And I did misspeak on the last podcast. I said Drew Shelton had another year of eligibility. He does not, and he could not be putting out worse tape in a year where he was coming in with some people saying like, "Oh, this guy's going to be a first round riser," and he's putting out some pretty horrendous tape. So that's not great. All right. This is a good time for me to bring up my bold takes as well because we've already talked about Mendoza. We'll talk about the other 2 quarterbacks here, but later. But my bold take was that each quarterback would have 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, and none of them hit 250 yards passing this week. So I missed pretty big on that one. But Texas A&M, Missouri, a pretty good showing for the Texas A&M offensive line. They pulled away late in this game. Casey Concepcion again led the game in receiving yards. That's a guy I continue to think is working his way firmly into first round conversations. What else from this game really stood out to you?
Yeah, Casey Concepcion, outside of the drop, which is my biggest issue with him, 11.1% drop rate this year. Outside of the drop, he had a great game. He had that. Did you see that dig route where he broke the corner's ankles and then took the screen to the house? Yeah, dude, he's 16 on my board, and I don't know that he can go too much higher because there's kind of a cap with his size, but I think that's going to be about where he ends up. And then, yeah, Texas A&M O-line, Basantis, love him. Don't really care for the other Texas A&M offensive linemen, but they're good college blockers.
Yeah. A lot of people like Zune projected as a guard, which obviously he's going to play guard. He's got 31-inch arms, but like, I still think he's a little iffy even inside. But again, I didn't really see much from Damon Wilson or Zion Young in this game. So that's, yeah. I mean, I think both those guys are fringe day 3 players, and Damon Wilson's probably going back to school. But I think that's probably all we need to talk about from a Texas A&M and Missouri perspective. LSU, Alabama, obviously a headliner this weekend as well. Ty Simpson, 277-1. In this game, Jeremy Bernard put up 79 yards passing. Nussmeier got benched. Boy, this game kind of had it all as well. Can I vent a little bit about Ty Simpson?
Yeah.
I think Ty Simpson is a very good quarterback prospect. I have some growing concerns about his ball placement and accuracy.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like, people are running away with him as quarterback 1 in this class, and I know he's your quarterback 1, and he's probably my quarterback 3. I still am a believer in Dante Moore, but like, his deep ball is not very good, and he's missing high over the middle quite a bit right now. And I even thought,
and he's missing short throws. Yeah.
Yes, short game efficiency was not good in this game.
I would say short throws, short, deep, middle in order is his accuracy issues. And I think the deep, like, there are deep misses for sure, but the deep air yards completion rate is being heavily dragged down by like so many drops. So I will give him credit there, but no, I just I was writing his scouting report today and like going back through all of his tape, and it's like, when it's not just one miss a game that you're kind of watching live and you just watch them all stacked, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's pretty below average accuracy. Yeah. The thing is, it doesn't lower him for me to quarterback 2, but it makes it to where like Mendoza's kind of right neck and neck with him and in striking distance. And so I think that's definitely a valid concern for sure.
So his charting profile is really wonky because I have him charted at 9 of 22 on deep balls, so only at 40% on target percentage. And again, that's on target, not completion percentage. But I have him at like a whopping 37 of 47 over the middle of the field. So like, he's at 78% over the middle of the field and 40% on his deep balls. And it's just like, if you just even improve that deep ball accuracy a little bit, you're cooking here with gas. But in this game, I charted him at 1 of 5 on deep balls. The one would be the one where he sliced up Tampa 2 with that deep post over the middle, where he just burned the linebacker trying to run the pole on that post. The others I thought were pretty badly leveraged in this game. But what Ty Simpson does do is he puts about 4 or 5 really awesome NFL throws on tape too, and that's like, okay, this will keep me coming back. This will keep me coming back. Again, the deep post where he just ripped up the seam on Tampa 2, beautiful. The deep crosser on play action where he against cover 3, where he got both hook curl defenders to bite on play action and ripped the ball to Jeremy Bernard right over their heads. Beautiful. Like, there are very beautiful throws on tape that keep you coming back to me like, that's an NFL throw. That's an NFL throw. That's an NFL throw. But there is a lack of consistency in the short game, and then like deep down the field, it's like, we got to be able to hit the easy stuff, and then we got to be able to take the top off every once in a while too, more consistently. Because again, the deep post, he did take the top off. But what else from this game stood out to you? I just ranted for like 10 minutes on Ty Simpson. So what else do you got here?
So I actually haven't watched LSU offense, Alabama defense yet. So I only watched one side of the ball. It was a pretty solid game for Harold Perkins, who I'm, remain pretty skeptical of as a draft prospect. Jaden Roberts, like, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of my top guards. The problem is he misses games all the time. But then also the last few years when I've been watching Alabama offense and I'm watching the O-line, it feels like every game, like midway through the third quarter, Jaden Roberts is out of the lineup. We've got this guy over at left guard, this guy, like, they have to change up their whole O-line because he's out and he misses, 10 plays to a half or something. So I think medical checks will be big for him, but he is just, he's got some nasty finishes and incredible NFL traits. So guy that I'm continuing to keep an eye
on. In terms of Caden Proctor, I felt like this was a tick in the upward direction again as well. Only gave up one pressure in this game. He's still just so up and down for me, dude. I don't know exactly what to do with him. Somebody's going to take him out of the first round. Somebody's going to do it. I would be really scared if my team did it.
I was writing a mock draft for wide left, and I took Caden Proctor in the first round because, I figure he's going to. And I always feel bad, with these kind of players that I think are going to go in the first round, but I don't think should, because then I write them up, and it's just, me trashing them. And so, Seahawks fans go to click and, read their new pick, and it's oh, great, somebody that sucks.
Yeah. He's got to go to an organization where he can be well insulated in a good culture, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some, the weight concerns are real. I think I mocked him to Detroit at 25 or 26 overall, something like that, to replace Taylor Decker. I think Detroit and Seattle's another good one. I think those are two situations where you can really insulate him.
I mocked him to Seattle. I'm full on guard with him though.
Yeah, that's fair. I still see the linear explosiveness from he could play tackle, I think, but ideally he'd go back to school, but I don't think he's going to. I think we could skip over Georgia, Mississippi State for the most part, unless you got something to throw in there.
My helmet sticker.
Oh, you do have a helmet sticker. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so Kelly Jones, Mississippi State corner. This is somebody that I have not watched this season, but shout out to NFL Draft Files. He tweets about him all the time. And so I've seen his clips, and that inspired me to watch him this game. Targeted, I think, 6 times, gave up 1 reception on a screen where he got pancaked. So that was a bad play. But I think purely in coverage, what he did in this game was super impressive. He only played 54 snaps, went out halfway through the game, but I still think that's a good enough, a full game sample size. And they were just running goes at him every single play, it felt like. And, he was right there. A couple really nice pass breakups where you see his length at the catch point where he can reach into the passing lane and rake it out. So, based on the screen, I worry about his play strength a little bit. I think it's 6'4", 6'3". If you can get under him, he's probably going to be in that Tariq Woolen archetype of corners. But this is a game that's inspiring me to go back to his tape.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. BYU finally got beat. 29, they got beat too. From an NFL draft perspective, this is where one of your bold predictions did not come through either here for us. You had stated that Romello Height and David Bailey would combine for 3 PFF charted sacks. Then there was 1 just a Height, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. But outside of that,
but they both had really good, pass rushing performances.
Yeah, for sure,
as always.
David Bailey's going to go first round.
Yeah, Jacob Rodriguez, another interception. Yeah, he's 101 for me on my board, and I don't know how much higher he's gonna get, but he's really good. I
love him, dude. I would take him in the 4th round all day. Fourth round pick, give me Jacob Rodriguez all freaking day. Have you seen the Heisman campaign they're running for him though? Texas Tech is trying to run for him though.
No.
Oh, Texas Tech is tweeting it out. Patrick Mahomes is quote tweeting it and tweeting it out. He's getting asked about it pre-game or post-game by people. It's everywhere. It's okay, let's get a little bit of a grip here.
With all that oil money, they're gonna have it on the gas station ad.
I know. Yeah, it's Jacob Rodriguez is a really good college player, and I would pound the table for that guy in round 4. But that guy's not going to New York. Let's back off a little bit here. But all right, Oregon, Iowa again. I feel similar to Dante Moore as I do Ty Simpson, where it's man, there's a lot of ugly, but he does just enough to keep bringing me back in where I'm not ready to punt him to 2027 yet. You might be ready to punt him to 2027, but from a process standpoint, I see it. From a clean pocket presence standpoint, I see it. And from an accuracy standpoint, I still see it. Again, the clock is kind of ticking on him to really put together a game against a really strong Big Ten opponent, though. for me to really buy in 100%. What are you thinking on Dante Moore right now?
Well, with the report from McShay that he's planning to go back, which I don't know. When I was watching this game against Iowa, there were still a lot of moments where I'm like, "Are you sure you're going back to school?" Because I don't like if he is not in this class, the musical chairs situation at quarterback, like it's about to get drastic, and teams are going to give huge draft capital, I think, to trade up to 1 and 2, depending on how many quarterbacks are in this class. But I don't know. Maybe like nothing, can't knock the decision if it's like personal. He's committed to the Oregon program, all that. But like purely from just a career perspective, I feel like going to the NFL. I feel like he's ready. But I mean, again, we say another year can't hurt, but it has. Yeah, I don't know. I think another year can hurt. So
Nussmeier probably goes first round if he declares last year. Nussmeier might not get drafted until round 3 this year. Maybe round 3. He just got benched, man. Yeah, crazy stuff. But again, the box score doesn't really say it all for Dante Moore. He did throw a really ugly interception. That ball should have thrown that ball. But like the process stuff otherwise in this game, I thought was much better than the box score indicated. Again, he's so clean with his pocket movements, the ball placement accuracy, that go ball down the sideline to put them in field goal range to win that game was unbelievable. Man. And he was doing it without, like, he was missing his like top 3 receivers in this game.
Yeah.
Again, this is the second time, and again, it's at Penn State, right? Penn State's lost 6 in a row, so maybe we need to damper. Iowa. I know, but I'm saying the Penn State game previously, where he willed them to victory. But this is the second game where I've really felt like he's willed them to victory down the stretch. Like in those gotta have it moments. Again, those gotta have it moments. Dante Moore's kind of risen up to the challenge again.
You know who I think willed Oregon to victory is your helmet sticker, and honestly, somebody who plays right next to him. But
yeah,
go for
it.
Yeah,
I'll get my helmet sticker out of the way here too. Iapani Lalulu was phenomenal in this game. The center for Oregon, him and Emmanuel Pregnon were both phenomenal. This is actually like the second time that I've actually sat down and watched Pregnon intently. That dude's hips can swivel. Like, I don't know when the last time I've seen a guard who can swivel his hips like that.
Yeah, like, and I think the hip like rotation and mirror ability shows up on drive blocks too, because his hips are always underneath his opponent's hips and they're always centered to his opponent. Like he's never getting rocked out to the side and like shed. He's just, it's centered, low, drive down the middle.
I don't know what happened because his tape at USC was not good. Like it just straight up wasn't good. But man, it's a lot better here at Oregon. But yeah, Lalulu was unbelievable. I thought his pacing on combo blocks to climbing was awesome. I thought he was able to hit his landmarks when he's climbing and not get out over himself. I thought he was just tremendous in this game. Really mean too. He was finishing a lot of blocks. So really awesome player. Really
definitely awesome the most like finishes that I've seen. Penn State game might be a close second because I think I gave Iapani a helmet sticker for that game. But yeah, this was dominant.
I think he's going to test really well at his size. And if he tests really well at his size, somebody's going to draft that guy top 50.
I could see it.
Like somebody's going to draft that guy top 50 just at that size and traits alone. So really fun player, really dominant game. So that's my first helmet sticker coming off the board there as well.
Did you watch Iowa offense?
versus no, I didn't watch the trenches. No, I haven't gotten to those offensive linemen yet. I was like, why would I watch? But I was like, yeah, Bo Stevens and
so it was a really good game for Cade Piper and Logan Jones. Bo Stevens, it was a helmet sticker caliber game for Bo Stevens. He had a loss in pass pro at the end that knocked him off the list. I thought this game is going to be a massive red flag for Amari Washington when we get to his draft report, and it's a scary resemblance because I remember Mozzie Smith's worst game was against Iowa's outside zone scheme. He just had no answer for it, and Amari Washington was getting, I mean, he ended up on his back like in dominant fashion, probably 4 or 5 times. And like the pass rushing plan is just not there. So he is very like Kenneth Grant, kind of in that range to me, where he's big, so you think he's a nose tackle, but against doubles, his tape is not what you would expect it to be. So yeah, it'll be. I hope he goes back to school, but he's got the traits to where he might declare.
Yeah, he's always been a player that I'm like, this is far too up and down on a week-to-week basis for me to really dig too much. And defensive tackle's been one of those positions where I've kind of seen it. Like I was low on Kenneth Grant for kind of the same reason, where people were like, "No, this guy's the best defensive tackle in the class." I was like, I don't see it. I think Washington needs to go back to school, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I haven't watched this game of Washington, but overall, I've kind of held those opinions. Like, this guy is a flash in the pan kind of player. Flash in the pan kind of player. All right, let's move on to Cal Louisville, where Cal upsets the one-loss Louisville Cardinals, 15th overall team in the nation. I have a helmet sticker. You had a joint helmet sticker. I have a joint helmet sticker with the USC receivers. I'm going to give a joint helmet sticker to these Cal corners, dude. Hezekiah Massey's and Brent Austin. How fast do you think Hezekiah Massey's is? Because I think that dude could fly.
I haven't watched Hezekiah Masses in like 3 weeks, and I didn't watch this game. I would have said maybe like 4, 5. I feel like he gets stacked initially and then can recover some. So I think it might be a decent 40 and like not as good 10-yard split situation.
Interesting, because what I watched, I think his transitional burst is really good.
Really?
Yeah, like really explosive. At least it was in this game. I felt like, oh, he's like getting out of a buzz look and turning and running exceptionally fast. So I was really blown away with that. He came in with an interception this game. He was all over the place, man. Really firm tackler, which has kind of been up and down for him this season with Cal. But I thought Hezekiah Massey's was well worth the helmet sticker in this game. Again, finished with the interception, knocked down a couple more passes as well. And then I think Brent Austin is just as much of a gnat as well. He had three passes deflected in this game as well. Made a couple really nice plays on some back shoulder attempts. They tried to box him out along the boundary quite a bit, and he was playing through hands pretty well along the boundary on those back shoulder attempts. So Massey's and Brent Austin are going to get a little joint helmet sticker here from a Cal perspective.
Brent Austin has 8 pass breakups in the last 2 weeks.
Jeez. And Hezekiah Massey's has 5 interceptions this season now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So insane ball production from those guys. Insane ball production. Again, Chris Bell had a pretty modest game. They're struggling to like get him the football in other areas other than shallow crosses. Have you noticed that over the past couple of weeks?
I haven't watched him the past couple of weeks.
It's a lot of manufactured like shallow crosses, not getting him the football out along the boundary as much anymore, deep down the field as much anymore. So I really want to see them kind of open it up again. But what I will say is Chris Bell had a really awesome rep. It was only like a 5-yard gain, but where he straight up just bullied Massey's off the line of scrimmage and press. So I am seeing Chris Bell use his physical play strength as much as I wanted to see him use it early in the season. I think I've been on the record on this podcast saying that I don't think he's as physical as he needs to be at his size. So I'm starting to see a little bit of that physicality come out, even as a run blocker too, where he's starting to throw hands a little bit. So love to see that, but they need to get him more involved on things other than manufactured touches to get stuff going here again offensively for him. All right. Trying to hop around a little bit here. Auburn Vanderbilt. Anything? Did you watch Auburn Vanderbilt?
I did not. I saw that our favorite left tackle had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I saw that too.
For Auburn.
I just spot watched Auburn or Vanderbilt's offense because Eli Stowers was on my watch list this week. Stowers is starting to stack some games production wise. So maybe not all hope is lost for a fun little F tight end here in this class as well with Stowers. All right. This slate then gets pretty dry after the games we just went over here. I have one more helmet sticker to give out, so I want to talk a little bit about Colorado, West Virginia, and Colorado dropped their third straight game here to a pretty bad West Virginia team too. But Juju Lewis did start this game and threw for 300 yards, so we might start to see some more production from Omarion Miller, who's going to get my third helmet sticker here. And dude, like, Omarion Miller is going to be this year's like AD Mitchell tape versus production player, which even Omarion Miller is starting to produce a little bit more down the stretch here as well, like stat games consistently. He finished with 5 for 131 and a touchdown in this game. He did get the ball punched out from behind in this game as well, which was detrimental. He had like a deep hook, and then he had was picking up like 10 yards of rack, and somebody came from behind and punched the ball out deep in West Virginia territory. But this dude is 6'2", 210. So again, the body type is there. A scout has described him to me as a thoroughbred when they've seen him in person. Just like, he looks physical, he looks strong, he looks explosive, and he plays like it. He had 3 catches all along the boundary where I just thought it was tremendous. Late hands, tremendous ability to separate and stack, just a natural glider on the vertical plane. And then the touchdown, it was a little bit of a little mossy action as well. So went up and caught it at through contact as well. So on that season, he's like 6 of 9 in contested situations too. So Omarion Miller is going to be an interesting case where, like, the quarterback play, again, they're on their third quarterback of the season, hasn't been spectacular, but he's still kind of putting together strong production. So another thing with Omarion Miller, a scout has kind of described him as a low burn. So like one of those receivers that like you really got to try to keep him engaged. If like the targets, the stuff isn't there, he can kind of tune out a little bit. And then he did get benched in the Utah game until they were down big, and he came in during garbage time and still led the team in receiving yards, which I think is funny because he was late coming back from the bye week and missed a team meeting, and that's documented. So I'm not like giving any inside information there, but that's documented. So there is like a little low burnish, but like if you look at him since week 6, he's gone for 89, 82, 59. That's the game that he just played garbage time. 91 and 128 over the past 6 weeks here. And then 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. So he's got 6 touchdowns and nearly 100 yards in every game since week 6.
I think
so the production is really there.
I watched him when you texted me, like, was it Iowa State that he had a really good game a few weeks ago? I watched one of his games, but yeah. Need to get into his most recent weeks.
He's just a glider, dude, and he's doing it from 84% outside the numbers. So like,
yeah,
this is a ball winner for sure. But that's going to be my third helmet sticker as well. But we do need to talk about one more game, because another one of my bold predictions was in the UConn Duke game, where I said that Skylar Bell, because his other 2 P4 games he had gone for 10 catches and 100 yards, he would do it again, and he went for 11 catches and 87 yards, dude. But he did have the game-winning touchdown, so... But again, fell a little bit short of that prediction there. But Skylar Bell's a baller, dude. I love him. And I feel like he's a player I can write my final report on, because he's not going to play another P4 opponent unless they get a bowl game. But even bowl games are hit and miss with the guys who are going to play based on guys transferring out. But
that's what I was doing. I was looking for today. I was looking for guys that aren't going to have another big game, so I can go ahead and write them.
Skylar Bell, baby. I'm going to do a film room on him probably tomorrow night, where I'm going to do my whole eval on video, break down the whole thing on video. So, I went back and tallied it up against those 3 P4 opponents, where Syracuse went 2-1, probably should have gone 3-0 because they gave it up late to Syracuse. He has like 32 catches, 310 yards, and 3 touchdowns against P4 opponents in like those level up games. Mm-hmm. So he's a guy who elevates his team. Again, he's a pure slot. I think he might be able to play some Z, but he's a pure slot guy. So that's going to cap his evaluation. But he's another comp pick to round 4 guy that I would be ecstatic to pound the table for, I think. So he's a hooper. He's a hooper. Any other game you really want to talk about here, man?
The other 2 games that I watched were both sides of Clemson. Mm-hmm. And I only watched them for 1 player each. Blake Miller, another really solid performance, pretty much lights out. And then Avion Terrell, 7 targets, 0 receptions. That's why I watched him. Now, it wasn't as dominant as you would expect from that, because like 3 or 4 of the targets were kind of uncatchable or like technically in his area, but it was still another really good game for Avion Terrell. So my take is like the Avion Terrell positivity needs to be as loud as the Clemson negativity because he's still playing his ass off.
I want to point out another play on that Clemson defense. Do you think Peter Woods has packed it in? Peter Woods is kind of playing like he's packed it in.
Yep. Well, so going back to that mock I wrote for Wide Left, there are a few players I needed to like, I hadn't watched in like 2 or 3 weeks that I needed to just go check back in on. And I did that with Peter Woods, and like, man, he might be I think the right decision might be back to school, but I don't think he's going back to school. Yeah. He just, I think he's steadily kind of regressed every year. There's been no growth in terms of attention and detail or any kind of. I described him as a sitcom pass rusher, where every pass rushing rep exists in its own like isolated universe, and there isn't as much like stringing together counters and each one plays off of each other. Still is one of the best block shedders that I've seen in college, but. Yeah, it's not looking great for Peter Woods.
Yeah. And then I thought TJ Parker was another net negative, or like a net neutral, just like not a player that stands out on tape on a week-to-week basis. I do want to point out one more player. We keep doing this, but this is it. I think, unless you have something else as well, but I wanted to give a helmet sticker to Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson as well, but I had already given out 2 offensive helmet stickers, and I was searching for a third. And I was like, I can't give out all 3 on the offensive side of the ball. He had 129 rushing and 103 receiving in this game.
Yeah, I like him.
I was going to say
my helmet sticker last week.
He might be in conversation for running back too, man. Like I think he might be in that conversation because Wayman Jordan's been out. Mm-hmm. I think Jonah Coleman's been a little up and down over the past couple weeks. The production's been hit or miss. I think Emmett Johnson could be in that conversation.
I like it.
I don't know if you feel that way as well, but
no, I definitely do. I mean, I wouldn't say he's my RB2 at this point, but he's in that group of like 3 or 4 that are kind of in contention.
I agree. All right. Well, as always, we'll figure something out for Tuesday. The Tuesday is kind of always the flex episode we can figure something out with. And then we're going to go over our linebacker big boards this week as well, because this is a fun class, fun class of linebackers. So stick with us this week, and we'll get you all the information you need to know. But until tomorrow, this has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast.